We are getting legit buzz about an all-star trade already, and not from some random blog. Like, The Ringer went out and said there's no star who's more likely to be traded this season than Lauri Markkanen. Zach Lowe says, after speaking with people around the league, I can't imagine a scenario where Lauri Markkanen is on the Jazz next year. What? Why? And which teams are secretly hoping to land him? Well, Lauri reminded everybody just how good he is, dropping more points than anyone not named Luka Doncic at Eurobasket. More than Jokic, Giannis, all of them. But a reminder, because last season sucked. The Jazz were fined $100,000 for sitting Lauri for no apparent reason. But we all know the reason. They want to lose games. Ever since trading Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert in the same offseason, the Jazz have been on a mission. But no matter how bad they've been, Utah just keeps getting unlucky in the draft. 2023, Wemby's the prize, but they dropped to 9th. 2024 dropped 2 spots to 10th. Then last year, worst team by a mile, shut down Markkanen because they're like, screw it, we are finally going to win this draft, and fall from potential #1 Cooper Flag to Ace Bailey Fit. So have they learned their lesson? No. This offseason, the Jazz swapped all Lauri's vet teammates for young guys and picks. No Jordan Clarkson, John Collins, and Colin Sexton. But the crazy thing is, Lauri actually likes it there. In fact, he loves Utah. Why? Well, first off, he's kind of a nature guy, and that's Utah's thing. A disc golf Reddit user played with him, had no idea dude was an NBA All-Star. Then, right before getting paid, Lauri told ESPN, they have showed their belief in me. From the ownership to the front office to Coach Will Hardy. So I trust the organization to help grow me as a person and a player. And that trust was smashed in Chicago. The Bulls said, oh, he's our player of the future. But the first sign of trouble buried him and moved on. So after a decent season in Cleveland, Lauri lands in Utah and finally breaks out. Most improved player, all-star year 1. But dude was basically a throw-in in that trade. It was the Cavs getting Donovan Mitchell for Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, Ochai Agbaji in control of 5 picks. But Utah treats him like a star and he proves it. So nobody wants this trade, but they have no choice. He doesn't fit what they need. But Lauri would fit on almost any contender in the league with his skill set. 7-footer with decent defense who spaces the floor, finish inside, but really an elite spot-up shooter. So who wants him? Everybody, except for one big problem. But the NBA season is almost here. I'm going to be locked into those games. But, as the season goes on, there are distractions, like the fridge, or social media, or my dog. But my #1 way to stay locked into these games is to get some picks locked in with PrizePicks. And you can win money up to 2,000x your cash, and the best part, the app is so easy to use. Create a lineup, just pick more or less on a few players' stats. For example, this week I'm going with Shohei Ohtani in this playoff game. I'm going to go more on his fantasy pitcher stats. And then we're going to go with Jake Ferguson on the NFL slate, more on his receptions. And PrizePicks is available in 45 states now, including Texas and California. Best part, you play $5, you get $50 in lineups instantly, win or lose, with my code AMHOOPS. That is play 5, get a free 50 in lineups, code AMHOOPS. And that issue goes from every team wants Markkanen to maybe 3. And that issue is his contract. Dude makes $46.4 million this year, all the way up to $53.5 in 2029. Who can take that kind of salary? I mean, you got the second apron to worry about, luxury tax. On top of that, who's then got the assets to give Utah in a trade? Oh, it is a short list of teams. And also with that contract, Markkanen's got to be like your second best player because good teams don't have a #3 making near max. Good teams are smart with their dollars. So dude is good, but is he that good? Well, other guys on that kind of deal. Kawhi is making $50 million plus another $28 from aspiration. Zach LaVine, $47. Then we've got the $46 million club. Evan Mobley, Jamal Murray, Lauri Markkanen, Spida, and Trae Young. So yeah, it's not crazy to think. But these are all #1s and 2s. Lauri's never even made a playoff game. Is he going to get better in the playoffs like Kawhi, Trae, Jamal Murray, Spida? We don't know. So on trades, I want to start with the one team that the Ringer says, but add on a few others I can't believe weren't mentioned. And that first team is the Pistons. No one has fully emerged as a co-star to Cade Cunningham, and that includes at the bank. The most important factor is money. Detroit's only paid Cade. Still not paid Oscar Thompson, Jalen Duren, Jaden Ivey, so it could work, but they need spacing, and Lauri works with Cade in pick and roll too. Coach JB Bickerstaff already worked with him in Cleveland and things went well. So after taking the first step with the playoffs last year, Detroit could cash in chips. So the Ringer suggests the Jazz get Jaden Ivey, Tobias Harris, Bobby Klintman, and 2 first-round picks. Pistons get Lauri. Oh, and if you don't like those 2 first-round picks, Utah, well, the Pistons aren't going to bid against themselves. Go drive up the price. But here, the Jazz get more picks and high-upside athletic two-way Ivey. 23 years old, his timeline is Utah's, unlike Markkanen. But there are 2 other teams who are a realistic threat. Markkanen is a great fit everywhere, but especially in Minnesota. Stretching the floor, running pick and roll with Anthony Edwards. Lauri's finishing at the rim is underrated, and Ant hit a ton of threes himself last year, but double teams were tough. He needs another elite offensive star. Now, from a salary standpoint, the only max guy here is Ant. Rudy Gobert is on a new deal, took a pay cut from $44 million a year to $35, near Julius Randle. So what does this trade look like? What about the Jazz get Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, Rob Dillingham, and 2 firsts from Sacramento? Wolves get Lauri Markkanen, Malik Monk, and the Kings get Jaden Daniels and a swap from the Wolves. The Jazz then flip Randle for even more assets, but they get a good young player in Dillingham and 2 Kings picks, which are valuable. Sac does this for another two-way player in McDaniels, which they really need. Now, I know it's a long shot, but everybody improves with this deal. But the final team is by far the most intriguing. The Spurs have got a problem with De'Aaron Fox and Wemby. Oh, they're good, but capped without shooting around them. Spurs had no choice but to take Dylan Harper at number 2 in the draft. We all know, though, he's not what they need. That's Markkanen. Elite shooting, on and off ball movement, passing. His fit is undeniable, but what about the money? Well, they haven't paid Wemby yet, which really helps. So the Spurs get Lauri Markkanen, the Jazz get Keldon Johnson, Harrison Barnes, and Dylan Harper. That's it. By far the best young player. I mean, Rob Dillingham, Jaden Ivey, or Dylan Harper? Keldon Johnson's great at 26 also. The Spurs may want to wait for someone like Giannis to cash in these chips, but there were rumors that they like Markkanen already. Now, in case you're wondering, the full list of teams that Lowe thought would work is the Pistons, Heat, Blazers, Raptors, Spurs, Rockets, Warriors, and Wolves. I think the combination of his salary, assets, and a win-now team means Detroit, Minnesota, and San Antonio work best. But the one thing that could kill all these deals, something the Ringer and Zach Lowe didn't even mention, the front office is led by Danny Ainge, who is known as a tough negotiator. Dude rarely budges off his asking price, which is high. He consistently gets the most in trades, so I don't expect him to take anything less than a haul for Markkanen. Remember, this is the same guy who turned Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell into an entire treasure chest of picks and players. So if teams want Lauri, they better come with an all-in offer. Ainge will just walk away. But something's got to give in Utah because they hope Lauri would turn the corner. But now that he has, they still want to tank. Can't just sit him. But on top of that, he's around the max. And in this new second apron era, that matters more than ever. If you are a contender thinking about trading for Markkanen, you can't just match salary. You got to be ready to live with the consequences. Second apron teams lose flexibility, can't stack picks and trades, handcuffed on roster moves. So with a bunch of credible sources expecting Lauri to be traded this year, the combo of his price tag, the new CBA rules, make it a whole lot messier than just picking up the phone, making an offer. But the Rockets are done with their rebuild. But now, they just got hit with a major injury. Good news, though, is one thing could bail them out of this Fred VanVleet ACL tear.